this is Dr.T Vara Lakshmi discussing you about the features of the perfect competitive markets as a part of this business economics and financial analysis. So, perfect competitive markets is the ideal type of the market structures where the products and the consumers are all at larger level and systematic information is provided for that products available in that market and no transaction cost, where there are larger number of the producers and consumers competing for one identical product, that is homogeneous products. For a best example of this perfect competitive markets are all there. Agricultural markets, larger number of the sellers as well as the larger number of the buyers, but in India only. If we take the example of the another countries, in the like Arab countries, there the agricultural products may be called as the imperfect competitive markets, agricultural markets, because there the petroleum products might have the more competitive, perfect competition products. So based on that country conditions, based on the number of the larger number of the buyers and the sellers existing, one country to another country or one state to another state, one location to another location, these conditions will be changes. In India, most of the perfect competitive markets means free software facilities, street food vendors and agricultural markets might be the best example for the perfect competitive markets. Once if we observe the features of these perfect competitive markets, all the firms sell an identical products. For example, if we go to the fruit market, everywhere the same kind of the fruits will be available. And that means the products either are similar or homogeneous products. Then the next feature of this perfect competitive market is all firms are the price takers instead of the price makers, because they can't influence the pricing elements due to the existing of the larger number of the sellers. If one seller increases the price, automatically the buyers will choose another seller, because the more number of the sellers are all available in the market. That's why the producer is the price taker only, but not the price maker. And in the perfect competitive markets, market share has no influence on the price, because all the sellers are all having more or less equal market share, which means 100 number of the products are all selling. If one person is selling 8 number of products, means another products producer may be selling 12 products, another may be selling 10, 11. So which means more or less equal number of the units are all selling by the producers. So that's why market share has no influence on the price. If one person is selling a larger number of the products, then that might have the more impact on the market, but in the perfect market conditions, it is not possible. And buyers have complete information, that is called as the perfect information about the market conditions. There is no chance of ignoring that elements. He should think that the same number of the buyers, same number of the sellers and same people are going to be existing in the market. And as well as resources for such a labor are perfectly mobilizable. That means all the sellers are equally using the resources of the raw material, labor, machineries, etc. equally among the sellers, and firms can enter or exit into the markets without any cost, which means in the perfect competitive markets, entry is easy and exit is also easy, because along with that person many number of the sellers are all there, and no need of getting maximum cost for the entry or exit. Anyhow, there must be some expenditures are all there for entry and exit, but much cost may not be required. If we see the characteristics of the perfect competitive markets, no firm holds substantial market share, which means they are the price takers, either the buyers or the sellers. It's whoever it is, they are all the price takers only, because the larger number of the people are all existing and there is no substantial product for the market share. And the second characteristics of this perfect competitive market is industry output is standardized. That is, up to a certain level of that one, this products is demand, and up to that level only they are all producing. Due to the natural disasters, due to the wastages or unexpected things, it might has to reduce, but at the productional level it is at same, and the producers are all producing homogeneous goods, which means they are all similar to one another. That is, perfectly elasticity of the demand is existing for the products which are producing under the perfect competitive markets. And the third characteristics of perfect competitive market is freedom of entry and exit. That means low cost for the startup and low cost for the shutdown of that particular company. The elements of this perfect competitive market includes that no monopoly, which means there is no chance of single player market. So one person domination on the market may not be possible, and no duopoly, that means even two people's domination is not required. No oligopoly, no markets with few sellers, because it is a larger number of that one. And even no oligopsony also, that is same vice versa for the uh, sellers are also, buyers are also. So even the larger number of the buyers are all there, larger number of the sellers are all there. No monopsony and no barriers to the entry. So these are all the elements of the perfect competitive market. If we observe the advantages and disadvantages of this perfect competitive market, it helps in allocating the resources to most efficient use, and it encourages the efficiency of the producers and more beneficiary to the consumers, because his spending level, up to his spending level only the products will be available, and the responsive of the customer is more possible in this perfect competition markets. And some of the disadvantages, mostly for the sellers only, that will be exist. The conditions are very strict and there are few perfectly competitive markets, and no other all the products are not having the perfect competition, and insufficient profits for the investment, because already the number of people are there, means the investments if they do, but that much of the profits may not be gained at a time, and lack of product variety. So perfect competition means same similar products, no variety of the products, and unequal distribution of the goods and income. So all the people are getting the same kind of the incomes, so there is no inequality in the distribution of the goods and incomes. That is the advantages as well as the disadvantages that exist because of this perfect competitive markets. Once if we see the market equilibrium under the perfect competition for an industry level, at the industry level, the perfect competition market is the meeting point of supply and demand of the products. So if the supply is 50 products are all there and 50 products there is a demand, then we can say that that condition of the markets will be called as perfect competitive markets. If it is related to a firm, that is that a particular industry level, or instead of an industry, if it is a company level, if the average cost of the products as well as the marginal cost of the products is equivalent, wherever that meeting point is there, that meeting point will be called as the equilibrium point for the perfect competition. So which means, assume that if one product production 10 rupees if they are spending, but two products if it is they are able to produce 18 rupees, then this is called as the total cost, and this is the number of products which they have produced, and the marginal cost is here it is 0, here it is 0, and here it is 8, and average cost is here it is 10, but the average cost is 9. And for the 3 products, if the 3 products they are all able to spend 21 rupees or only, then the marginal cost is 3 rupees and average cost is 7. If at any point of this time, so if it is like increasing the number of the cost, total cost, wherever, if the marginal cost and average cost is become equivalent, average cost of that product is equivalent, then definitely that meeting point will be called as perfect competitive market. If it is for industry level, if it is an industry level, the supply of the goods as should be equivalent to the demand of that particular goods. This perfect competition, again, the equilibrium will be changes for a firm based on the time schedules in a short run as well as in the long run. In the short run equilibrium, the perfect competition market always it assumes that firms are seeking to maximizing the profits than the wealth maximization. So in this one, the meeting point of the supply and demand will takes the less span of time period to get this equilibrium point. At these situations, the average revenue of the organization is equivalent to the marginal revenue of the organization. So that is on an average, whatever the amount they are spending on the products is equivalent to the increasing level of the revenue generating by the persons. That is the short run equilibrium for the perfect competitive market. If it goes to the long run, even the fixed cost will also changes for the any business. So in the long run, not only do this variable material costs are only because it is not easy for them to reach to that perfect competition market for the long run equilibrium. If the time is going on and that to perfect competition, they have to change this fixed cost, variable cost, entire cost they have to change means again to gain that one, it will take more time for them. So that's why the meeting point of this supply and demand curve will take a larger time period, and that too here the marginal revenue is equals to the average revenue, and that should be equivalent to the demand which is existing in the market along with the pricing levels of that particular market. Profit levels has to be meet all the 4 conditions, then only for the amount which they are all spending will be get the equilibrium point at the perfect competitive markets. If we see the practical significance of these perfect competitive markets, if there is a larger number of the buyers and small firms are all there and many buyers do not possess the same power to influence the behavior of the participants. At that conditions, to make these imperfect markets to the perfect position, the pure market condition should be exist in that particular place. That significance is importance of this perfect competitive markets. And the power is thoroughly disappeared throughout the marketplace if there is a perfect competition market is there and there is a normal conditions for the selling of the products might be possible, and perfect competition rarely exists in the real world anyhow. That is the real phenomena. But if really exists for all the products, there is a larger number of the sellers are all there, then the amount spending by the buyers and the purchasing parity of the buyers will be increases, and more chance of getting the products which is required by the customers at lower prices or at equilibrium prices we can get that products. So that is the practical significance of this perfect competitive markets and some of the basic concepts, basic information regarding this perfect competitive market. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.